been doing intermittent fasting for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. My biggest is 5 years doing intermittent fasting and not seeing results. And that happens to a lot of people. I think online, people talk about fasting so much and how amazing it is and how effective it is. And we hear so much amazing stuff about it. And it's true, it is so amazing. But there's a lot of people whose bodies are more stuck and need more help coming out. And that's also very, very normal. All right. So it's also very, very normal to have needing that extra push to come out of it. All right. So if you're in that category, don't worry. I got you. We can talk about something else for you. If you don't like intermittent fasting, if maybe you're having the nausea, the sickness, the shaky, the fatigue, all the reactions that come from, and if you're plateauing, right? If you hit that plateau, very, very common where your body can go so far with it, but that last push is really hard to achieve. So that as well. So Alan, I got you in the other category as well. If you are having the reactions to intermittent fasting, especially if you're insulin resistant, it's because of the insulin resistance. Makes it very difficult to skip a meal without getting the shakes and the headaches. If you're far enough along that path of insulin resistance, that's when you start getting the reactions. So if you're in that category as well, I got you. So let's dive into intermittent fasting though. We'll talk about it a little bit. I'm going to answer some questions and then we'll talk about the other option as well. Okay. So, if you are postmenopausal, Amy, you can do intermittent fasting. There's a cycle that you have to follow for it. So there's different fasting schedules depending on where you are in your cycles and where you are with your hormones and stuff like that. But you can definitely do it. So I will talk a little bit about that. For anybody that I coach, anybody that's watching me, I know a lot of you guys come in. If you guys are with me and we haven't talked about that yet for your cycle or where you are with your hormones, send me a text message or hit me up on the Facebook group and I'll put the advice in for you guys again for how to fast for your situation. Okay. So we can do that one-on-one. Okay. So, or in the Facebook group. So, fasting, I recommend the 16-8 method for you guys for insulin resistance. Now, the reason is because fasting, intermittent fasting, does not mean you have to stop eating. It's not about a huge caloric deficit. So 8 hours is enough time to get your healthy 3 meals in, right? To get 2 meals in, to get 3 in, whatever you need for your day. 8 hours is good. I find that when people do 4 hours of eating a day instead of 8, and they kind of start to shrink that window smaller, they tend to only eat 1 meal a day or 1 meal and a tiny snack. They don't have enough room, enough time to actually feed their body properly. And if you're underfeeding your body, if you're having only, 500 calories a day, 1,000 calories a day, it's not healthy long term. It causes other problems. We want to fix one problem and not create more problems, right? So it's about that healthy balance. 8 hours is good to have the healthy balance. So Julie, if you're someone that I coach, I would have sent you the Facebook group. It's a private group. So if I haven't, and I'm so sorry, you should have gotten an email from me and a text. But if you didn't, then message me, I'll send it to you. Okay, so where was I? Fasting 8 hours is really good. Now what that looks like is eating for 8 hours, fasting for 16 hours. You can do your 8 hour eating window anywhere you'd like. So you can place it at noon, for example, and you could finish at 8 o'clock at night. You could start it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and finish at 9 o'clock at night. So you can put that 8 hour eating window anywhere. All that matters when you start eating, you count for 8 hours and then you stop eating and you fast for the rest of the 16 hours, okay? Ideally, you're not snacking in between. Because if you're snacking all day and you're eating all day, the full 8 hours, you're keeping your insulin high the whole time. What you want to do is just have your healthy meals. Try not to snack in between. So that's fasting. Water is fantastic. Have water all day. Have water when you're fasting. When you're fasting, you can't have, don't have glucose, don't have sugar, don't have food. Have black coffee, have black tea, have water. Okay? And then you're fasting. Now, the reason why you fast is because things are happening to your body when you're fasting. All right? If you stop eating at 8 p.m. at night, for example, then what happens is by midnight, your blood sugar actually normalizes. When you're sleeping at 2 o'clock, your insulin is supposed to normalize, but you're insulin resistant. We're insulin resistant here. So your insulin is actually still very high. It's not actually coming down, but it's supposed to normalize. After that, your body goes into a fasted state. You want to stay in the fasted state until noon, that 16-hour period. Let your body stay in that state. So Nessie, yes, the migraines are really, really common. I have a solution you guys can consider if you'd like to for that piece to help manage the reactions. That is the toughest piece. And yes, fluids, Demi, water. Have water, that's fantastic. It's really good for the body to be having water all day, including when you're fasting. For extended fasting, put electrolytes in there. Even if you're doing 16-hour fasting, you can put the Celtic salt, for example, for minerals. There's all those fun things you can do. But that, in a nutshell, guys, is one solution you guys can start to use tomorrow. All right. Now, for those who do not love that option, who aren't getting faster results with that, or want faster results, or don't want to do it, whatever the case might be, I do recommend another option to people that I work with that works very, very well. It's made for insulin resistance. You guys can consider it if you want to consider this one here. Okay. Now, I do recommend this one. This solution here makes intermittent fasting much, much easier. So if you're willing to still do intermittent fasting, it's going to help you do it and make it easier for you and gives you even better results if you combine them. You don't have to combine them. All right. So, trauma, all good. All right. So, and the hunger cravings, that's the tough piece. That's why I have this other protocol, the hunger cravings, the migraines, all these things that make fasting very difficult to sustain. All right. So that's one of the pieces. Insulin resistance drives that as well. Right. When you're insulin resistant, you're going to have frequent hunger cravings. You're going to have the migraines and the headaches. You're going to have the fatigue when you skip a meal. It's the unfortunate piece of insulin resistance you got to really push through and really fight through. Right. And that can go on for some time.